Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Found Friday and the first episode of the 2018 year. We've taken a little bit of a break, so if you're new to the series, Found Friday is a weekly video and podcast that tackles the latest in search, content, and findability for marketers and all others interested. We try to keep the show to 20 minutes or less, and we tend to touch on issues that our audience or clients are discussing, or just trends that we see in the industry, and we try to cover it all in less than the amount of time it takes to drink a cup of coffee. So today's show is dedicated to the Search Console updates that Google's making in 2018 and what it's going to mean to kind of marketers, webmasters, and those involved. So a little bit of kind of context. So several months ago, Google started rolling out some new beta things, a new beta version of Google Search Console to some select users. And on January 8th, they announced on Webmaster Central blog that the beta version is actually going to be released to all verified Google Search Console users, making it the biggest update to Google Search Console in the last 12 years. They're claiming that they really want to provide more transparency into indexing and creating a better communication between users and website owners. So kind of the end goal is to help the users resolve issues faster, optimizing your presence in Google search, et cetera. So basically what they're talking about here is that all the changes that they're making are really aimed at giving people a little bit more insight into what's impacting overall findability and ranking data and kind of how you're performing. So some new features that we're going to discuss today include search performance report, index coverage report, the AMP status reports, and job posting status reports. They're going to continue to roll these updates out throughout the year. So we're going to keep an eye on those changes as they continue to come. For those of you who kind of want to ease yourself into the experience, they are going to offer both versions live until the rollout of the new version is complete. So you can kind of toggle back and forth if you're like, hey, can't figure out where something went. All right. So because we always try to keep this short, let's talk in a little bit of detail about each of the new features. If you want more information, you can check out our blog on the demandsphere.com site, which we'll provide at the end of the show. And we have a bunch of links to various resources and other things there. All right, so search performance report. So the new search performance report, again, really aiming to improve on the existing search analytics report. So previously, only 3 months of Search Console data was available. And this new report is actually going to include up to 16 months of data. So this gives you guys the ability to look at a lot longer term trends, do more quarter over quarter, month over month, and even yearly comparisons. It's going to show you things like clicks, impressions, CTR, and average position, stuff that you expect to be in that kind of report. And it aggregates all data by site except for when grouping by page or site appearance. So the other thing that's now coming in that I think is really interesting, because if you have watched Found Friday before or heard anything I've ever spoken at, I love segmentation and the ability to group things like keywords, content, competitors, locations, audience personas, anything, right? Like I love segmentation and being able to do that. So now Google's allowing you to filter data by multiple dimensions, which is really exciting. So including things like web, image, video search, and you can also segment by query, page, device, search type, all kinds of different things. So you can now compare data between two exact values in any one of the groups or dimensions. So an example might be if you have mobile and non-mobile versions of your site, you can actually compare total searches on mobile on your mobile site to mobile searches on desktop site. And you can actually right now only compare previously kind of like one data dimension at a time. So this should give you a lot richer experience. Do make sure you know, though, that adding a new comparison is going to remove the existing comparison. So make sure that you kind of go in, look at what existing kind of comparisons and versions that you have before you start kind of playing with that too much. If you have something in there that you've set up that was that you use a lot or is complicated. Okay, moving on. Index coverage report. All right, so the index status report with the new index coverage report. So basically, index coverage reports coming in over index status report. So this report's going to show webmasters how well Google's actually indexing your URLs from the site. And in addition to listing properly indexed URLs, it's going to give you warnings and like a list of indexing issues for things that would explain why they're not indexing your URLs. They're also providing some issue tracking functionality that explains when it detects new errors and helps monitor progress of fixes. So kind of like an alerting functionality like, hey, it's not working, here's what's going on. So some new features that are gonna help facilitate index fixing issues are gonna be the ability to now like click into a URL and bring up page details with links to diagnostic tools to better understand kind of the source of the issue. This is gonna be, I think, really helpful for folks who are either learning a lot about this and want more information at a granular level as to what that real impact is, or if you are kind of trying to dive in quickly and don't have a lot of time to necessarily search around, this is going to provide that kind of granularity for you directly within your Search Console. So a lot of times making fixes involves a lot of teams or some handoffs. Google's now creating a share button, so you can get a shareable link to the report. I know that, that may not seem like that big of a deal. It's not exactly a workflow tool, but they are trying to make it easier to collaborate inside of your organization without having to take screenshots and stuff, or authenticate multiple users into your Search Console. So, kudos for that attempt. After resolving errors, you're also able to validate fixes and resubmit resubmit for indexing. So that should help speed things along a little bit. And then you can also use the new sitemap filter over index coverage data in order to focus on an exact list of URLs. So that should actually help people who, let's say, have a campaign in market or are rolling out a new product or feature, and they can actually drill down into that from a particular area of their sitemap. Now you can just focus on that core group of URLs without having to, kind of like sort through a bunch of stuff unnecessarily. So that should be really helpful. And we've got screenshots of a bunch of this stuff on the Demand Sphere blog. All right, next up is AMP status. So this report is going to help webmasters identify and fix errors preventing AMP pages from appearing in search results. So it's going to group the URLs that have issues by the specific issue type. In addition to identifying issues, the AMP status report is going to help you diagnose the issue and then actually test the URL after you say that you've done the fix. So this actually should speed things up for a lot of folks who may not have had a workflow that they felt was really conducive, or that took them out of their Search Console and that platform and kind of toggling back and forth a lot. So after identifying issues and addressing, you can notify Google to validate the fix, and it'll crawl and reprocess kind of all your sites with a higher priority without having to wait for a regular crawl. So hopefully you're getting kind of like a feedback loop a lot quicker. All right, so in addition to just identifying errors, the report also provides warnings for pages that have potential problems that are still indexed. So they're actually trying to get you out ahead of the problem before you actually lose your indexing. So they're trying to help you watch out and get there beforehand and go ahead and make a solve. So that should be hopefully prevent a lot of de-indexing and problems in the future. I hope webmasters are enjoying that. It's also going to help you watch for error spikes and missing AMP pages. Similar to the other report, they're also providing a share tool for that as well. Okay. Lastly, job posting status report. All right, so Google has a new job posting report for websites that post job listings. It's going to be only visible if Google finds a job posting or job posting rich results within your site. So it's not available in all areas right now. This is going to be one of the things that's a little bit slower to roll out and will probably stay in beta a bit longer. So the report shows stats for your site's job listing results, and you can notify Google of fixes or updates that have kind of made them revalidated. So similar to your AMP pages, this is also going to have some trends for spikes in errors and issues. It'll provide warnings for pages with potential issues that are actually still indexed but may be de-indexed soon. So, for a lot of folks, getting kind of job posting areas, try to really get them found can be a little bit complicated. So I think that here, what they're really trying to do is make sure that they're helping you make sure that your job is not only findable, but also really relevant. I think that writing relevant job posts has actually been something that a lot of people have struggled with for a long time, and HR departments tend to use a bunch of keyword filtering and tracking. So it'll be interesting to see, a little bit more about how Google getting involved in the way that we post and describe jobs and maintain their findability actually impacts the efficacy of the postings themselves. So far, this all seems pretty well received by folks in the search and webmaster community. So complaints about kind of the 3 month of data thing have been persistent for years. I'm a little surprised that this is kind of the first fix that we've seen, but I know that they're busy doing a lot of other stuff. So I think that it'll be interesting to see as kind of this beta access continues and more folks get their hands on it and have an opportunity, and as kind of these additional beta features continue to roll out and grow, kind of where this really leads us. I think some of the areas that I'm specifically interested in seeing is, like specifically with our product, we integrate Search Console data and Google Analytics data. So, how much richer does that allow our experience as kind of another analytics provider, give us the ability to provide you an even richer data experience. And I'm sure a lot of other folks kind of in the software analytics platform area are going to be really excited about, where this allows us to go. Again, find more information about this on our blog. It's demandsphere.com. It's DEMANDSPHERE.com. And there you'll also figure out a little bit more about kind of why we're doing what we're doing and some more information on Found Fridays. You would previously have found us at ginzametrics.com, where an index of all of our old Found Fridays are, as well as on this YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, I am Erin Atchison, and you can always email me at Erin@demandsphere.com. And until next week, that's been your quick update for this week on Found Friday.